everybody. I am at the airport. My flight is in approximately 1 hour, or I'll at least board in a little over an hour. So I'm going to be very busy. So this is really my opportunity to do this, to make good on my commitment, at least to try to release a video every new moon and full moon. So to begin, the sun is in Libra, and the moon is in Aries, so that's why it's said to be a full moon in Aries. So I always start with the sun, so it's the part of us that just keeps going. It's the thing that makes life possible on the planet. And since it's in Libra, it's not at its most happy, because Libra is all about partnership and balance and relationship. And while the sun is a very important part of the balancing of the universe, of what makes life possible, it seems, given that the sun powers all of us and everything. Just like the energy from the sun, at least. I'm not trying to take credit or give attribution to like the originator. I'm not trying to go there, but that that luminosity that powers the universe is shining in the constellation of Libra, which is all about relationship and balance, and the sun in itself struggles there. It would much prefer to be on the opposite side of the heavens in Aries, because Aries is all about doing what you want when you want to. It's pioneering, it's impulsively going towards. Impulsively makes it sound bad, but it could be your very survival instinct. Whereas Libra is all about an inanimate object, about balancing, and the sun is very much anything that gets close to it is going to just, get sucked into it. But if something has enough speed, it's the thing that seems to keep it all going. And it will allegedly end. But so even though the sun in Libra struggles because of that, I believe the fact that Venus, which is in charge of Libra, is right there. So it's like, even though the sun struggles in Libra, since Venus is in charge of Libra, it's like I think a lot of those challenges are kind of lessened, because even though the sun isn't as particularly able to do what it wants to, I think, in that space, which is to be this emanating force that doesn't quit and just consistently moves. Venus is all about love and connection and pleasure, and in Libra is said to have a lot of power. So there's hopefully a lot of power going towards balancing things visually and creating symmetry and connection. It's of Venus's signs, it's the masculine expression, so it's about doing things and maintaining things. It's an exerting energy. So that's where the sun is, and kind of how it's doing. Now, Aries, on the opposite side of the heavens, where the moon is in Aries. I find that moon and Aries individuals are people who are constantly enacting and doing things. It could be as simple as shopping or organizing a call, but when I think about moon and Aries people, they're just a momentum to them. They're almost always doing or going or something. That energy is conjunct Chiron, so it's like, shoot, there's a chance to like really help the part of us that is like not able to express that individual sort of, this is me and this is what I want. Aries, I think it happens very naturally. It's like they just respond in a way that makes sense for them in the moment. And then what's coming up for me is asking for forgiveness instead of permission kind of a vibe. But since the moon and Chiron are conjunct, and that's where the axis is, it's like Jupiter's still in Aries, helping out Aries, but the moon's far enough away that I don't think Jupiter's like, I don't think a good astrologer is going to tell the story that that's going to be as effective as the Chiron wounded healer one. So Chiron and the moon, some individual expressive, like instinctual, pioneering aspect of ourselves that might be struggling. Um, yeah, as well as the kind of, I don't, for some reason though, since I have Chiron in Aries, it's making me think that like some of the downsides of Libra are kind of there. It's almost like, and I don't know if this is a good astrological technique, but if the story resonates, then I guess it does. But Chiron sort of seems to make like the motif and the archetype in my mind not be as like you know what it's like to not be able to express your your impulse, so you can help other people who may not be expressing their impulse. So it's like that's a really interesting one. So there's that opposition in the heavens now. The moon is ruled over by Mars, which is in Gemini, and Mars is going to be in Gemini for some time. Mars is going to be pretty much at the exact place it was when I was born, if not very close to it. So I'm kind of curious what this full moon is going to mean. Particularly for me, it's in my 10th house of like public image and career, and it's Mars is a cutting, burning kind of hot energy, and in Gemini, it's sort of diffused and scattered to lots of different things because it's mutable air. So it's a very, of all the different things, it is almost the most all over the place, I think. And it's ruled over by Mercury, which is in Virgo, which is really good because Mercury rules Virgo. It's on its way into Libra. So it's a good time to like just work with the details, even if there is a lot of like heat and conflict, and yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. So Sun is in Libra, ruled over by Venus. So that section's done. Now the moon is in Aries, it's ruled over by that like expansive, all over the place. Thinker, talker, communicator, idea, aider. In Gemini, Mars, which is in charge of Mercury and Virgo, where it rules. So there's like a, yeah, it's a bit of like a red, um, it's a bit of a red time. So the full moon is always red. It's balancing two sides of something. Um, and then there's another little square there that is between Mercury and Mars, which is kind of going back to the moon. It's a time for, yeah, like full moon is big. It's bright. I mean, you can see the moon right now. There, it's not quite full, but there's, I don't think I can zoom in, but you can see it. It's, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. It's building up. So it's like the most of it is the most light that is possible for the moon to reflects whenever they're at opposite sides. Unless, of course, there's an eclipse and things get a little hairy, but that's not happening this time. So, but they're coming soon. Eclipses are definitely coming soon, so get ready for those. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what is the energy? What is the story that I want to share in relationship with this? Saturn and Uranus square is looking pretty strong, so it's like a, yeah, the North Node's still there. This is something that I think's been going on for the past couple really years, that signature. So it's like, it just makes me think more dealing with the isolation of people from their normal day-to-day routine. That has to change. Technology's gonna change it. Like, I'm thinking work from home being more popular, or people hopefully starting to realize that they really need to like eat food that respects the earth and those natural cycles. I think that's a really important thing to learn. Um, let's see, we've done the sun, we've done the moon, we've done Mercury, we've done Mars, we've done Venus, we've done Saturn, we've done Uranus. Let's see, Pluto. Pluto is trining Mercury pretty good, and Neptune, so there's a sense of like saying the things that stir you at like a very deep level, like how you fit into like the earth and the routines and things that need to happen. Like a really deep conversation about that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be camping during this full moon, and yeah, I've just been some of the journaling stuff that I'm writing is like very sad. It's like very like I message someone like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I feel like I don't belong anywhere. Like I feel like I'm not wanted anywhere. And then I know that that's not entirely true. There are people who have invited me, like my aunt, to come and live with them and maybe do some screenplay writing or something like that. Wow, that's pretty dope. I still don't, I just can't imagine, like, yeah. So I just keep coming back into my body, into the present moment, watching the sunset, you know, at the airport, trying to record this, like, just feeling that, like, heaviness and that sadness and that, just like, what is it? Why are we doing it all? Like, that question may not be the most valuable. Um, that question may not be the most valuable to ask, to be honest. I'm currently thinking, is this even audible? Like, should I be talking louder? Do like my headphones actually work? I hope they do. I hope they do. What else? What else do I want to say? It's an airy time. There's a grand trine between Saturn and Aquarius, Mars and Gemini, and the Sun and Venus and Libra. So there's a lot of like ideas and language and social stuff that's likely to be spread around. And I don't know. It's strange. I wouldn't say it's both malefics are there. Saturn and Venus seem to be that ones in the most shape, but the Sun is really close to Venus, so the Sun sort of maybe diminishing that a little bit, and the Sun is not happy in Libra, so it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't communicate. Communicating, I think it is like a good chance to really like really share, like, I want to say, I wouldn't necessarily say the truth. I mean, that's obviously a good thing to do all the time, but it's like it's a chance to get real about your partnerships, get real about them, talk about talk about the pros and cons, talk about how it's helping, how it's not helping. That's like the grand trine. There's a more of a T square, which is a less flowy aspect. This is more like dense. It's like being torn between. Man, this is a really interesting, really interesting kind of a situation. But it feels kind of escapist again. It feels sort of like navigating a sort of hazy, foggy time. Yeah, it's kind of sometimes whenever I look at these charts, like things come up that are just so clear and so crisp and so poetic, but today it's just like I just see a bunch of fucking scribbles, you know? Like that's basically it. I don't know. It's not my best reading. It's not I don't feel particularly like yeah, there's not much inspiration flowing today. So I guess I'm gonna bounce, but I really hope that you guys are doing well. And maybe by the next reading I'll have more of a sense of what to say. Perhaps. Yeah, just feeling one breath at a time. That's basically it. That's basically it. Yeah. Love, light, and snake bite.